It is primary night in New Jersey. Good evening to you. I'm Christine Johnson.
And I'm Jessica Moore. Less than an hour after polls closed, both the Democratic and Republican nominees for governor were called. Republican Jack Chitterelli was declared his party's winner just about 20 minutes after the polls closed at 8. Right now, you see here we have 57% of the vote in, and Chitterelli has 66.9% of the vote, beating out the other 5 candidates.
Let's look at the Democratic side now, where Sherrill has won her party's nomination with 66% of the vote in. She has 35% of the vote in for the Democratic primary. We have live team coverage here for you. Let's go to Dick Brennan at Sherrill's headquarters in Morristown. We'll be going to him in a minute once we get that camera set up. First, let's join Christine Sloan. She is at Jack Chitterelli's headquarters in Homedale. Christine, Jack was full of smiles just a few minutes ago up there at that podium.
Certainly, Christine, this is a major comeback for Jack Chitterelli, now the Republican nominee for governor of New Jersey. Chitterelli walking out to this packed room shortly after 9 o'clock, soon after CBS News announced him the winner. He said that he won all 21 New Jersey counties. Chitterelli also thanked President Donald Trump for his endorsement, saying that if elected governor, he would focus on pocketbook issues, overhauling the education system and lowering property taxes. Take a listen to what he had to say just moments ago.
We won because our campaign is about people, not politics. It's about vision, not division. We won because of our positive energy. We won because we talked about the issues that matter, the critical issues facing our state, and my plan for a safer, more prosperous, and affordable New Jersey.
Chitterelli says he's celebrating tonight, but getting back to work tomorrow. He's already on the attack against his Democratic challenger, Sherrill, calling her, quote, Governor Murphy 2.0. He also blamed her for many things, including what he calls open borders under former President Biden. It is going to be a big, and it's going to be a long several months until November. We're live in Homedale, New Jersey. Christine Sloan, CBS News New York.
All right. Thanks so much, Christine.
Let's bring in our political consultants now. O'Brien Murray, J.C. Palenko. O'Brien, all here to talk about tonight's race is plural.
Yes.
But hey, things happen so quickly here tonight. We had the results in no time. The Republican side, we had it 20 minutes after 8. Chitterelli with a commanding lead. So where do we go from here as far as these two candidates distinguishing themselves from each other?
Well, listen, there's no surprises, and that's because the two front runners this entire time pulled it off. And what you're going to see now, I think, is going to be the thriller in Manila. I do. I think these two candidates understand that this is a very, very competitive state. Many would view it as a swing district of sorts. And if I'm the Republican candidate, Chitterelli, I'm looking and I'm saying, I lost by 3 points. Mm-hmm. I think this is my time, considering that President Trump did pretty well last time around, and he did so well, President Trump, among Latinos in New Jersey. There may be new inroads.
It's his
for him
third
to do well
time running for governor, though, right?
Well, but don't forget, New Jersey is a keg tapped at both ends. You got Philadelphia and you got New York, and you drink out of both sides, no matter who you are as a candidate. Also, there are 2 candidates on the ballot, but there's really 4 names: President Trump, Governor Murphy. You heard me say this earlier. I know, I can tell, right? At this point, and a Republican nominee and a Democratic nominee. There's 4 people. What are they going to do to motivate their voters? How are each of them going to stay to the middle, get the independents where they have to be, at the same time motivate the progressives to show up and the MAGA to show up to vote for them in November?
Governor Murphy has been silent, though, during this primary. He didn't even endorse a Democratic candidate.
Good luck when he's brought back on the debate stage when he's not even there when the two go head-to-head. He can hide all he wants, but the Republicans will bring him out front and center and tie her to him as much as they can.
But so is the Democrat. The Democrats going to have a field day bringing out President Trump on every single opportunity. President Trump continues to be the boogeyman among independents. Mm-hmm. And as long as Congresswoman Sherrill brings him out every single time, look at what he's doing. Look at what he's saying. Did you see what he tweeted? It's going to be nonstop anti-Trump media coming out of the Democrats.
I wouldn't bet the ranch when I go to Atlantic City, but I'd sure place that bet right now on Mikey. What you have right now historically in New Jersey is when there's a Republican in the White House, the Democrats win. And that goes back to Florio and Whitman all the way through when you look at all these nominees, what you have right now. So, I mean, where did we get Corzine from? Where did we get Christie from? Look at who's in the White House. Historically, historically speaking, the Democrats control the White House, the Republicans win. As JC says, it will be neck and neck to the end, but who they motivate. What happens in California? Does that come across to the East Coast? What happens at Columbia University when we're talking about things next fall in October and November?
Yeah, you made the point earlier about making sure both candidates stay in the middle. I'd love your take on the idea neither of these candidates is really far left or far right. Would you say that tells you this is going to be a really close race in the general?
Absolutely. New Jersey's a moderate state. The last thing they wanted was extremes. You have a veteran, a Navy helicopter pilot, mom of 4, Congresswoman who's a moderate running as a Democrat.
Right.
And then you have a Republican that not too long ago was not exactly Mr. Trump. So you have an opportunity now to bring independents out, bring people in the middle, and make them feel comfortable with knowing this person will fight to lower taxes, cares about crime in your community, and economic development.
You also have a Democratic Party right now nationally without a rudder. The leader the other day was on tape saying, I don't know if I want to stay in this job anymore because their own infighting. When you have that going on in Washington, D.C., and the Democratic Party cannot put itself together and come together behind that candidate and go straight ahead, you're going to have a situation where the candidates get defined by the independent money. And when you have an R next to your name, you're going to be MAGA. And when you have a D next to your name, you're going to be progressive.
But don't forget the importance of the woman vote. They have a candidate. You can have a woman governor of New Jersey. What a testament it would be. I think she's going to excite a lot of women voters and a lot of independent voters. I give the edge to the Democrat in November.
I certainly agree with that, but I was also in Washington, D.C. during the inauguration, and I saw a lot of women out there for Trump.
That's true.
In Washington, D.C. So we'll see. We'll see. This is what the election is all about.
Right.
I want to have the popcorn vending.
JC and O'Brien, thank you both for all your time tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's check in now with Democrat Mikey Sherrill's headquarters.
Dick Brennan is live in Morristown for us. Dick, what's the mood out there? About 4 minutes after we asked you if they were celebrating, and you said no, no, no. They started screaming and celebrating.
Yeah, they finally got the memo there, guys, and I can tell you it's been nothing but a wild party. And then I have to say, I've seen a lot of the speeches, a lot of the debates from Mikey Sherrill, but tonight she put on quite the performance. And her speech was filled, and we heard what JC said, the thrill in Manila. It was filled with sort of this fighting metaphor. She quoted George Washington twice that I could keep track of. She said how she was going to fight. She kept evoking the idea that she was the helicopter pilot, and I know we're going to see a lot more of those commercials because obviously they're very effective. But she also managed to bring in the fact that she's the mother of 4, and she closed by making a comment that I think a lot of mothers and fathers could really understand, you know, keeping those teenagers in line and keeping those MAGA teenagers in line. That was her reference. So the speech she gave tonight was very effective. Let's hear a little of it right now.
We are in an American crisis, but not in a war for independence, in a fight for our future. The fight for justice, for liberty, for opportunity, and for prosperity. And once again, it is New Jersey's responsibility to lead this great nation.
And as you were all just talking about, this race is going to be all about who can out-MAGA the other person or out-progressive the other person. I'm kind of with J.C. Polanco in the field that perhaps I think the slight edge goes to Mikey Sherrill because I think there may be a feeling among some of the voters here who have seen the Trump policy in the last 4 or 5 months, particularly among the independents, that perhaps they may be put off by what Trump is doing. But as we've been talking about all night, remember, Donald Trump came within 6 points of winning this state, which would seem absolutely unheard of in any other way. So the question is the state moving a little more to the red, or with, you know, metaphors like we heard tonight, is Mikey Sherrill going to be the one to say, hey, I'm the young one? I think she called, she mentioned Jack Chitterelli a couple of times, calling him the ghost of campaigns past. She's 53 years old, he's 63 years old, but I think she was trying to make it like, hey, I'm the young person one, I'm the one with the fresh ideas. We will be finding out in the next few months. Guys, back to you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And remember, you can find continuing coverage on our website, cbsnewyork.com. Thanks so much for joining us tonight for our election coverage. I'm Jessica Moore.
And I'm Christine Johnson. Join us tonight at 11 for a complete election wrap-up. Enjoy your evening.